So Leslie Walter has affectionately known as Fez, is an extraordinary storyteller, musician, and creative spirit whose life journey has been nothing short of remarkable. With a voice that connects both on the page and through the strings of his beloved guitars, Fez writes stories filled with humour, heart, and unflinching honesty. His memoir, Twice Saved by Death, reflects his resilience in the face of struggle, offering readers a raw yet uplifting look at redemption and self-discovery. Beyond writing, Fez has spent years bringing music to everyone. His guitar, Marty the Wonder Guitar, and companions often became characters in his own adventures. From heartfelt wedding songs to timeless performances, music remains an inseparable part of his identity. Disclaimer: any of the guidance offered by the podcast host, myself, or the podcast guests is our own guidance. We are not liable for any of the actions the podcast listener decides to do. Welcome to the show today, Fez. Glad to have you on.
Thank you for having me, Johnny.
Absolutely. So, there's many areas I like to dive in. I love what you do with your music, what you do with this like story. So I'd love to know your memoir's called Twice Saved by Death, and what does that title mean to you, and what happened in your life to really write that book?
Well, the title means that I put myself in a very bad situation. I don't want to give the book away, but finding out that someone died uh, got me out of trouble. It woke me up, and like I said, I don't want to give too much away from the book, but I was actually gotten out of trouble by someone dying twice in my life.
Oh wow. So yeah, so like seeing, obviously you don't want to give like too much away, but yeah, it's so death kind of had a real kind of strong like impact on your life to actually see things differently, it sounds like.
Well, yeah, it's something that happens to everybody eventually, and you try to avoid it. But in the meantime, you try to live your life and deal with the failures that I've had plenty of in my life. That's chronicled in the book, and
Hmm.
if
Wow.
you read the book and see how I had some successes, but I've had failures after failure and fired from a lot of jobs, and it's been quite a journey to get to this point.
Oh
But I'm
wow.
happy.
Oh wow, quite a journey. Yeah. So got that memoir, and um you're a big fan of like music. Has that been like something from like a young age, or was a moment in your life where music became like a big part of it?
Yeah, well, I started playing guitar at 12, and then I transferred what I knew from the guitar onto the piano. My mom was a virtuoso on the piano, and so we always had a piano in the house. And from the guitar, I like transferred the chords onto the piano and just started playing the piano. Later on, my brother and I used to play in clubs in San Antonio. That's where I grew up, was in San Antonio. And we were sort of a Simon and Garfunkel type duo. And anything that could be done on two guitars, we did. And we had a little following, and had a great time doing it. We did that for a couple of years when we were teenagers. I was 19 and he was 17, and we were playing in all these clubs. And the owners of the clubs would let us drink, even though we were underage, and that that was an experience. So that's my background in music.
Hmm. I love it. And you called your Marty the Wonder guitar. When did that name come from?
Well, I came up with that. I had a website that I started myself back in 12, and it was called That Boy and His Guitar. That was the name of the website. Kind of like a boy and his dog.
Hmm.
And I had a bunch of crazy pictures of me and Marty. It's a Martin guitar, a Martin six string. So that's why I decided to just call it Marty. And the Wonder Guitar, it's like Manfred the Wonder Dog. This is Marty the Wonder Guitar. So that's how I promoted us on the website. And it never really got off the ground. I had all my music on there where you could buy my music and you download it for 79 cents or whatever. And it never did much. So I let it lapse because it was with GoDaddy. GoDaddy did some upgrades and they wiped out all my music.
Oh
And
no.
and I decided more trouble than it's worth to sit down and download all that music again. So I just let the thing lapse. But I made copies of all the pages. So I've got everything that it once was. And Kindle, who I'm with now, they've been promoting my book for me. They built a website for me. And all my music is on there. And a lot of pictures of me and Marty. So you can access that at LeslieHaasAuthor.com. If anybody wants to go on my website.
Oh, incredible. I love that. And you've been a storyteller. Is that you're a storyteller? Has that been something you've been all your life as well?
Well, no, I've been a poet my whole life. I wrote my first poem when I was 10, and I wrote my first song when I was 12 when I started playing guitar. And so I always felt that writing a novel, I started writing a novel when I was right out of high school. And I decided that after I got it through a couple of chapters, this is too much work. So I gave it up. And the way I come to inspired by this book, I went to the funeral of a friend of mine, and I emailed my brother. He was a friend of this guy's also. I was the only one to show up at the funeral. So, and it was a military funeral at Fort Sam Houston National Cemetery in San Antonio. And I was given the flag to the funeral. And it kind of shook me up that I was the only guy to go to this guy's funeral. So I emailed Kenny, my brother. I dedicated the book to him. And I gave him a great detailed description of the funeral and what it was and how I felt about receiving the flag. And this guy, he was homeless. I had learned from the newspaper he had been homeless. And this guy was a good friend of mine 30 years prior. And so I was kind of upset about that. And so I related all this to Kenny in this email. And apparently he liked the way I worded everything. I told a story in this email to him about the funeral. And he comes back and he said, Fess, forget music, forget poetry. You need to write. He said, write about what you know, write about what you don't know, just write. And so I thought, well, never thought about that. So I used the email that I'd sent him as a prologue to the book, and decided to write about my life because that's the only thing I'm an expert at. And, so the email that I wrote him is pretty much word for word in the book. And then I start with the oldest memory in my mind when I was 2 years old and take it all the way up to the end of to the funeral in 2008. And I started writing it in 2008, and I got about 40,000 words of it done. And I was busy in the car business at the time and just didn't have time. I lost interest in it. So I stuffed it in my bottom drawer of my dresser with all my other creative ideas. I come to call that drawer my drawer of broken dreams. And in December 24, I had some time on my hands at work and at home. So I remembered, hey, I started a book about 16 years ago. So I dusted it off and decided to sit down and hammer it out. So I finished it in February of 25. And then I hired an editor to go through it. And that took about 3 months. And she made some good suggestions about just little things like, you need to clarify this. What does this mean? You need to elaborate on that. She made a suggestion to some of the chapters were too long. She said, you need to shorten this. You need to cut this off here. and divide this into this and that kind of thing. It was really helpful. I thought she did a great job. She gave me the idea to put a title on each of the chapters. So I did that. And I thought the book was very polished after she got done with it. So I was really happy with it. So that's how I've gotten to this point. Then she recommended Kindle to me. So I got with Kindle. And so they've been doing things for me. They built the website. They had an ad that ran in Times Square on a billboard that they owned back in Christmas.
Oh
It
wow.
really got me interested. They did an audio book for me, and they've done a lot. It hasn't really caught on yet, but I'm standing noble and being patient and just waiting for it to take off. And let me say one thing. Getting back to my music, I came up with what I call my acoustic rock opera. And it's called Simpleton: An Odyssey in Music. And it's a coming of age story told in 13 songs. And I created a genre of song lyrics that's never been done before. I call it whistles, words hidden in song lyrics. And if you take the first letter of each word in a line, it'll spell out another word. It'll give it another different interpretation of the word and give it a whole new meaning. So it can also be like a game. Find all the whistles. And I've got some palindromes in it, and that's the work I'm most proud of. Is my acoustic rock opera. And if I ever get it off the ground and then get it in the right ears, I think students will be doing papers on it for the next 100 years because it's that complicated.
Oh wow, a complicated masterpiece. It sounds like.
Yeah, my opus.
Oh, that's incredible. I love that. So, like, did sort of writing your book help you connect with yourself and your own like experiences in life?
Well, yeah, I kept diaries in grade school and high school, so that helped me remember things. And then when I did my stint in the Army, uh, I was almost drafted. This was back when they still had the draft lottery here in the States. And my draft number was 5. And if I hadn't joined the Army, I would have been drafted, would have gone to Vietnam, and probably would have gotten shot up like my brother. That's another story altogether, which is chronicled in detail in the book. So, and I had letters to my wife. Well, she was my girlfriend at the time. And there's about 100 letters between us. So I went through those letters to remember all the things that I went through in basic training in the Army. So that's a whole chapter by itself. And then the rest of it is just from memory. Uh, Things were so they hit me so hard that I remember them well. So and that's how I wrote the book.
Wow, lots of memories, lots of experiences. Some tough ones as well. It sounds like some challenging ones, but it's all in the book, kind of to like just share your experiences and what you've gone through. But yeah, it sounds like it was quite a journey writing it for you as well. Um, yeah, there's it. It's sorry, carry on.
Well, writing it was largely therapeutic.
Hmm.
Uh, some of the things I needed to get out, get them out of my head. And so back in high school, and I talk about this in the book, back in high school in typing class, when something was bothering me, I would type it out on a piece of paper, type out my problems, and then I'd crush up the paper and throw it in the trash, and my problems went with the paper into the trash. And so this book was me typing my problems again. It was my whole life.
Hmm.
And as an adult, in 35 years in the car business, it was lunacy. And I'd had no business in the car business. I didn't have a personality for it, didn't have a demeanor for it, but I survived for 35 years in spite of that. I forced myself to sometimes leave my conscience at home in order to succeed. And some of the things I did, mostly in the finance office, doing the financing in the cars. Some of the things I did in that office, my mommy and daddy would not have been proud of me, but I had to do it to keep my job. And that struggle with my conscience is chronicled in the book. And I needed to get that out. So that helped.
That helped. So you said
Yeah.
35 years in the car business.
Yeah.
Hmm. What kind of kept you in the car business?
I'm sorry.
Sorry, what kept you in the car business?
Couldn't do anything else.
Hmm.
I, I was still writing music and poetry, but I couldn't get discovered because I was too busy paying for a house and raising two daughters, and so I was just stuck there. You know, I couldn't. I thought that when I turned 45, my daughters would be grown, and then I could pack up my guitar and go to Nashville or somewhere and try to get discovered. But that never happened because I was too much in debt and just couldn't do it. So I was stuck there until 2011.
Hmm. What changed in 2011?
Well, I got fired for the last time,
Okay.
and, uh, and then I decided to go back into accounting, get out of the car business, and hell with this lunacy. Um, uh, so I decided to go to a temp agency, and they had me take the test. So I started out in the car business. I started out in the accounting office, and then I went into sales after that, and finance and management and that kind of thing. So decided, hell with this, so I'm going to get out of the car business completely, and went to this temp agency that specialized in accounting positions. And then they said, be prepared to take some tests. I said, that's my end. Because I couldn't put accounting on my resume that wasn't 30 years old, you know, and nobody's going to pay attention to that. So I took the test and they said, no, this is great. Uh, we won't have any trouble finding you a job. And they called me the next day and they said, well, if you would do us this favor, there's this law firm that's moving from downtown Austin out to Westlake, which is West Austin. They need somebody to just go help them out, help them unpack and put things together, hang pictures, go to the mail, go to the bank and post office, that kind of thing. And I was that close to turning it down. And I said, well, it'll get me out of the house and it'll show the temp agency that I'm reliable. So I went there and fell in love with the place and they fell in love with me. And so they decided they made a deal with the temp agency how they could keep me. And office services coordinator was my title.
Hmm.
I've been there ever since. I'm still there. It's been great. I've never been happier. And it's the longest job I've ever
Oh wow, that's so cool. And are you
had.
still using your music now, just enjoying playing it or doing your music now?
Yeah, not as much as I should. Uh, my calluses, I need to build them back up on my guitar. I do a lot of finger picking,
Hmm.
and I need to build my calluses back up. But I've got my front living room here at home is my music room. I've got three guitars and a baby grand piano in there, and I can go in there and play whenever I want to. Sit down, play the piano. I need to do more of it. Get back into it more.
Hmm. Oh wow. So yeah, still a little bit of the music as well. Got it.
Yeah,
So where did the name Fez come from?
I was about 5 years old, and I played with this little girl next door. She was about 3 years old, and she couldn't say Leslie. It came out Fessy. So my two older brothers started calling me Fessy, 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 and it stuck. And I've got seven siblings, and I don't remember any of them ever calling me anything but Fess. And my mom and dad hated it. and they refused to call me Fess. And Mom, every once in a while, she would say, "We gave you a beautiful name, and you went out and ruined it." And I said, "I didn't ruin it; they ruined it." And I've been Fess ever since. A lot of people don't know what my real name is, but Leslie Walter Haas. It's on my birth certificate. It's on my driver's license, my bank accounts, all that kind of thing. But my friends and family call me Fess.
Uh, got it. I came from a young childhood thing. Got it.
Yeah,
So, is there any thoughts of writing like another book or anything else in the future coming up?
I have another book that's ready to go. I think it's ready to go. I don't think it'll need much editing because consists of it's a compilation of all my poems and song lyrics, some observations I've made over the years, and the last chapter is going to be my comic strip. I did a comic strip back in the '80s called "At the Dump," and it's a bunch of discarded things at a dump that talk to each other, and it's never been done before. Another thing with this book, I'm calling it "The Creative Lunatic: Poems, Song Lyrics, and Observations by Leslie Walter Haas." And with each poem and song lyric, I'm including a paragraph that explains the inspiration that caused me to write that particular piece. That's never been done before. And it'll give people an insight and another dimension on the poem and the song. So, wow, that's what it means. So I'm if Twice Saved by Death takes off and I make enough money, then I'll start promoting the second book. I think it has the potential to outsell the first one, maybe if people like poetry and song lyrics and that kind of thing. I think the explanation is what's going to sell the book.
Mm, I love it. Love the idea of getting that out there. Um, so yeah, you and poetry, is that something you still do quite regularly as well, even outside the book, or not?
So I say that.
Sorry, do you still do your poetry quite regularly?
Uh, I haven't written anything in a good while. I've written some stuff at work, just funny poems to be read in sales meetings or that kind of thing. But I haven't written anything serious in several years now. Just don't have the need or the inspiration or uh, nobody cares. So I might start writing again if the inspiration strikes me. But I never sat down and said, I need to write a poem. Something always struck me that caused me to write something down. And I think that
Mm,
an inspired work is much better than a forced work every time.
mm. So your music and your poetry is quite like inspired and it's come from something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something happened or happened right in front of me that caused me to write something.
Mm, got it. So Fez, I want to know a little, like for the individual, you're someone who like shares their voice. It sounds like through your music, through your like poetry, and also from your book as well. Um, for someone who's scared to kind of like share their message, what guidance would you give them?
Don't give up.
Mm,
Uh, I'm 73 years old and I'm just now getting published, just now getting some attention. And so that makes it. I wrote my first poem when I was 10, so I've been wanting to get discovered for 63 years now, and I'm just now doing it. Don't give up. Don't surrender. Just keep at it. That's. I mean, I've given it up for years at a time, but I'm finally, I'm going to make this happen one way or another. It'll be my dream come true to
mm.
get. I just want my work. I've got a lot of material, and I just want my work to be enjoyed. And I think a lot of people would enjoy it if they get exposed to it.
Mm. I love that. Yeah, getting your work out there and never giving up. It's amazing, Fez. So Fez, I'd love to know as we kind of like wrap up today, where is the best place for the listener to find your book? And you mentioned it as a little bit earlier as well, but where's the best place to find your book, to find your work, and is there anything else you'd like to leave us with today?
Well, it's available online with Amazon, Goodreads, Barnes and Noble, uh, Books A Million, Walmart, and in the UK, it's sort of available at Gardner's Books and Blackwell's online. I checked this morning. You can just type in the title "Twice Saved by Death" and it'll pop up, and people can buy it. And it's printed on demand. They don't have it actually in the stores, but you can order it online and have it delivered to your house.
Oh, incredible. I love that. So yeah, Fez's book, Twice Saved by Death, right? Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, is available on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, multiple places for the listener to find it, which will be in the show notes below as well for the listener. So Fez, a big thank you for coming on and sharing everything today.
definitely.
Of course.
We'll maybe do this again with my second book.
Amazing. I look forward to it when your second book's out.
Okay.
So that concludes our episode for today. And remember to lead with your heart and not with fear.